First of all, start with the great name of Allah, who is alone master of entire universe. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. My name Faraz Hussain by caste Jamali. I am a student of BS English 2K19. I have chosen on topics for my presentation for the philosophy. These are topics given me Miss Fasia Noor. I want to start my presentation. I hope you will listen to me carefully and attentively. Plato was an authentic philosopher during the classical period in ancient Greece, founder of the Platonist school of thought and the academy, the first institutions, the higher learning in the Western world. And philosophy, Plato's epistemology is a theory of knowledge developed by the Greek philosopher Plato and his followers. Platonic epistemology hold that knowledge of Platonic ideas is innate, so that learning is the development of the ideas buried deep the soul, often under the mind wife, like guidance and the interrogator in Plato's Republic, the four coordinates, virus and the wisdoms, and temperance, the courage, the justice. These reflect the nature of the soul. The soul has three parts. Plato believed that there are truths. The belief discovered their knowledge is the possible, since truth is the objective, and our knowledge of true reposition must be about real things. According to Plato, these real things are forms. Their nature is the such that the only mode by which we can know them in relationality Plato theory and basic real terms. Forms assert that the physically world is not to the real world. Instead, ultimate reality exists and beyond our physical world. Plato called this spiritual, and the realm of the forms, also called the realm of the ideas and realm of the ideas. Plato theories of the forms assert that the physical theories of the Plato, according to the Plato, forms and the abstract, perfect, unchanging concept or ideas that the exit and the realm and the courageous choosing, and the Plato is the best writer and the ancient. And Plato born 428 and died 348, age level 18 year. Age level 80 years. And notable work, Apology, and many works, and the era ancient Greek philosopher, region, Western philosophy, school, Platonism, and notable student Aristotle, main interest, metaphysics, ethics, and politics, epistemology, and the Socrates. Socrates was an Athenian Greek philosopher, credited as one of the founder of Western philosophy, as the being the first moral philosopher of the Western, ethical and traditional of the thought. Made no writings, and the chiefly thoughts the accounts of the classical writers after his lifetime, particularly his student Plato and the Xenophon's. Other sources include the many type of the Aristotle, and the knowledge with the virtue is knowledge can be the learned, so can virtue. The Socrates state virtue can be the thought. He believes unexamined life is not worth living. One must seek knowledge and wisdom before private interested. Socrates defines the knowledge and as absolute truth. He believes that everything in the universe is innately connected. If one thing is known, then potential everything can be derived from that one truth. The fundamental ideas that Socrates seeks to uncover are the called forms. According to Socrates, virtue is knowledge, because first a living things and their their perceive good and the therefore. And 2, if any does not do the what is the good, he cannot do what is good because he will always aim for the mistake target. But 3, if someone knows what is good, he will do what is good because he will, and beauty is a short living and trying, and the only true wisdom is the knowing. You know nothing. There is only one good knowledge and one will. Ignorance, according to the Socrates, defines justice and the work at the which he is naturally best situated, and the one of the best Socratics educated and the speeches and the writers. Born 417 before Christian, Dame Elopes, Athens, and died 399 before Christian, age approx 71 years. Case of death: execution by force, suicide, and by poisoning. Era ancient Greek philosopher, region Western philosophy school, classical Greek philosophy, and notable students Plato, Xenophon, and notable ideas: social, giftly, Socrates method, Socrates and intellectualism, and Socrates paradox, Socrates questioning, and Socrates irony, the many, and to all of these. And Aristotle was a Greek philosopher and polymath during the classical period and the ancient Greek. He was the founder of the Lyceum and the school of the philosophy and the Aristotelian traditional, along with his teacher Plato. He has been called the father of Western philosophy. His writings and cover many subjects including physics, biology, zoology, metaphysics, logics, ethics, and aesthetics, poetry and music, psychological, linguistics, and economics, politics, and government. Aristotle provided a complex, the various philosophical and existing and prior to the him, and was above all from his teachings that the West inherited its intellectual lexicon as well as problems and methods of inquiry. As the result, his philosophy has exerted a unique influence on almost every form of knowledge in the West, and in the continues to be a subject of contemporary philosophical discussions. And Aristotle, some lines: the man, three classical unities of the drama. Aristotle, three unities are: unity one of time, all actions to take place with a short time, from hours, days, less, week, months, or years; and unity of place, all action to take place in the same place; unity of action, just one man, plot with little or no subplot. And Aristotle quotations. One quotation: educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. And 2, be a free thinker and don't accept everything you hear as truth. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in. And 3, the educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living from the dead. 4, excellence is an art won by training and the habituation. The best friend 5. The best friend is the man who, in wishing me well, wishes it for my sake. The midwell adds and Aquinas. And Aristotle and Aristotle died 384, and Aristotle born 322 before Christ. And I start the Middle Age and Aquinas. Justin died in 480 and some 40 years before the date usually originated as the end of the Western Roman Empire, last Roman Empire in 476, and their dark age the lasted 1000, and the compared as the shining culture Europe barely qualified. Original philosophy was the virtually and the extent during the dark age, and the learned thinker of the philosophy jumps into the rightness in the period. And the realism, those who think they only to concept the mind subscribes to conceptualism about thinkers and the account universe real concept in the mind. Nominalism, contact with the Arabic word during the High Middle Age led to the interesting amongst Europe church leaders in the philosophy of Aristotle. And the Greek philosopher and Plato's the real form second at with the Christian philosophy, which was the Platonic, and the Augustine and the outlook some church thinker. Why do human upright? For 4 reasons, said the Augustine. Animal use the sense organs of seeking food because their sense organs are located mostly in the face. Their face are the turned to the ground by contrast, and also use the sense to pursue truth and the purpose. It is the better that they are the able to look. They are the able to look up and about. Their brain functions better when the above the other parts of the body. If we walked on all four, our hands would not be available for the other purposes. If we walked on all fours, we would to hold our foot with our mouths. If short, we walked erect because certain purposes communicating the seeking truth using your hands and the brain are best served by doing. Teleological explanation type of the explanation that we mentioned in the connection with Aristotle. Life is descriptive. Descartes was born 1566 and 1650. The start of the 17th century, 4 years before Born was born, and the born son of the liar Britannia and the member of the one, and he was the mathematician, scientist and the native of the Kingdom French. He spent about 20 years of his life in the Dutch Republic after the serving for while a Dutch state army, Maurits and Nassau. And Boethus was born 477 and 524. Italy was a senator, the former famous magister and the philosopher of the early 6th century. Notable works the consolation philosophy era, medieval philosophy school New Platonist age around 44 years, and interests problem of the universe, technological, musical, and the notable ideas, the wheel of fortune. John Scotus, he was born at 815 and 877 was the French, and John Scotus was on the Irish technological news, the Platonism and philosopher of the and successful man of the hour and your work and your life era medieval and philosopher interested free will logic metaphysics notable ideas for division of nature and they wrote any number of the works about medieval ages section and Saint Augustine he was born 13 November and 30 and 354 and 28 August 430. It was a Roman, African early Christian logical and the new Platonic philosopher of the writing influence in the development the Western philosophy and the church and the directly of all the Western church and he was a man he was the main writer of this medieval ages and the church and the fathers the church of the writing is the period among his most important work of the city of god and nationality Roman African and died and nationality Roman Africa and notable works Confession at the adjacent city of the God and Christian and Doctrine era ancient philosophy medieval philosophy region Western philosophy school Augustinian and the new Platonist notable students Paul Orisiol and main interest religion and theology and pedagogy philosophy of the metaphysics ethics notable ideas philology and original sin free will Augustine and the just was theory absence of god that's all.